The reason why I got my first guest, because first of all, I really respect his opinion. He's been around a long time. He's a legend in Philly sports broadcasting. So let's go to the Barb's Harley Davidson Sports Hotline and welcome into the locker room, Billy Werndl. What's up, William?
Have a wine with Billy, Schweim, and Scott. How you guys doing today?
Good, Billy.
Good,
How
Billy.
you
Long
doing?
time, man.
Well, you're mentioning general managers. And, of course, yesterday was Sixto Sanchez getting the Marlins in the second round of the playoffs. The Real Muto deal seems to be, if we don't re-sign him, we're in trouble. And you mentioned Matt Klentak. Klentak, again, the problem, when they acquired Real Muto, that's when you put the wheels in motion to get a long-term deal done with him. All right? You knew that the DH was probably going to come to the National League. And I don't think the Phillies really realized that the price of poker was going to go up this high. So, I mean, Klentak has not done a very good job. The farm system is horrible. I mean, you know, you've got to produce a player and a half every year to push your starters. I mean, this is a broken record. But, again, John Middleton is going to stand by him because he's going to take a $100 million loss this year because of the pandemic. So the Phillies have got to find a way. Now, look, they're going to ride Alex Bohm, maybe Tyler Stotts, the shortstop they got from UNLV. Those guys will produce. But the other problem is Spencer Howard. They're counting on Spencer Howard to be a mainstay of that pitching staff, and injuries keep cropping up with him. You know, so we'll see what happens. Again, Klentak's got to put a bullpen together. He's got to decide what he's going to do with Didi Gregorius at shortstop. The Real Muto situation, we know about that. The unsettling situation in center field. The bullpen is an absolute mess. If they apply quick enough, they'll get federal funds. Right? And they've got to get at least one or two starting pitchers. So this situation doesn't look good, especially with the Marlins with their young club, Atlanta. You know the Nationals will be back, and you know the new owner of the Mets is going to spend money, and they're going to make sure they're competitive in the National League East. So Billy, they're looking a little bleak right now.
So, Billy, let me ask you a question. Do you think Matt Klentak gets a pass because of the COVID? I mean, the wheels were in motion for them they were negotiating a new contract for JT Realmuto, and then the COVID hit, and all these teams are losing a lot of money. So do you think because of the COVID, Middleton gives Klentak a pass?
Yeah, he'll probably give him a pass. He'll have to give him a pass, as you mentioned. But again, are you going to keep going on this merry-go-round? I mean,
well, Bill, but you think about Billy, hold on, time out. If you think about it, the Philadelphia Phillies blew 14 saves last year or this year. 14 saves. If they would have just cut that in half, they probably would have been in first place.
Exactly. But again, who comprised who put the bullpen together? That was
but 1 through 8 it wasn't so bad. I mean, all right,
wait a minute. I've seen teams, Billy Schweim and Scott, that could hammer the baseball all over the lot, but they had no pitching at all. Pitching is the name of the game. All right,
Yes, it is.
Of the game. And you know, the one thing that was disappointing down the stretch, Nola and Wheeler did not step up big time. That was a real disappointment to me. If you're a primetime player in the spotlight, you've got to step up. And Nola and Wheeler were zeros. All right? Let's be honest, guys. That's when you want to have the ball. That's when you want to come up with a big effort.
Billy, I need your opinion on this because I've gone back and forth with this with Billy a number of times, and I've mentioned it on the show here for, the last 2 months. What do you think the reason is why they're not signing Realmuto? I mean, obviously it's a lot of money, no doubt about that, but I think he's earned every penny of it.
He certainly has, but again, the budgetary constraints by John Middleton. Now, you know, he would go over the luxury tax if he signs Realmuto, and they're very concerned about that. You know, I don't care about the luxury tax. If you want to win, you've got to put all the cards on the table.
Yeah, it's It's not easy getting a guy. Like, it's not easy getting the
He's
best
the best
player in
catcher,
his
all-around
position.
catcher in baseball.
Right.
The
So
best.
you finally
He
get
will
him.
have,
He
you
likes it
could have
here.
got him when you traded for him. I would have made a real effort to re-sign him. A real effort.
Yeah.
The day they made that trade, that's when you start the wheels in motion to sign him. Don't wait till
Before
you
he
11th hour.
proves. Right, before he proves he's the best catcher in baseball.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean,
So,
that's what you got to do. Catching is such a art. I mean, he does a good job handling his catchers. He throws out base runners. He's a very good hitter. Uses the entire field. I mean, this is going to look bad for Matt Klentak and the Phillies. And when the pandemic is over, hopefully that's in the foreseeable future, and they start baseball, how do they sell the Phillies on Matt Klentak? I know you don't buy managers and general managers, but the people are going to be reluctant to go back. That's
All right, Bill. Let me change gears. I want to talk to you about my next general manager that I don't think is really worth his weight. It's worth pulling his load, but he gets so much credit because they won a Super Bowl. But Howie Roseman, I think he's left this Eagles team really depleted and not set for the future. If you look at all the injuries, it's the third year in a row we've had a problem with our receivers. Now the offensive line's getting old. Jason Kelsey, Jason Peters. These guys are getting old. I don't think Matt Clinton, he wastes a second-round draft pick on Jalen Hurts.
Well, here's the deal. I agree with you. Howie Roseman has not done a great job. And he can point to Joe Douglas. He can point to other people in the administration. But Howie Roseman is the captain of the ship. And you're right. Jason Peters, why bring him back?
Why bring him back?
You have to find out about Dillard. Now, I know Dillard went down, but you also drafted Jordan Mailata. You got to find out if he can play. And that's the big problem, finding out about players. Deshaun Jackson, was there a tremendous groundswell to sign him in the National Football League? I don't think so. They gave him a 3-year deal. He's hurt again. I am tired. Oh, he's a great player when he's on the field. He can't help you in the tub, like Buddy Ryan said. You can't help the club in the tub. All right. So why do you waste your time with it looks like the Eagles alumni? Why don't we bring Stan Walters back, Jerry Sizemore? All right. It's ridiculous. When you're evaluating players, you're evaluating them every day, and you got to be honest with yourself that is this guy an ascending player? Is he leveling off? He's an ascending player. We saw Jason Peters had more flat tires last year than AAA fixes. I mean, every time you looked up, he was coming out of the game. So, I mean, what is going on here? I mean, you're absolutely right. You said Jalen Hurts. They're not convinced that Carson Wentz can stay healthy for an entire year. And there was a report today that maybe Wentz is feeling some pressure from Hurts. Hurts is not ready for prime time. Wentz has got to step it up. And when I hear anybody say franchise, I'm going to tell them they're barking up the wrong tree. He has the potential to be a franchise quarterback. A franchise quarterback has to put his team on his shoulders and carry the victory.
All right, Bill, let me ask you this. Scott McKay asked me this question. It's a hypothetical question, but I want to ask you. If the Eagles go 0-6-1 in their first 7 games, and Jalen Hurts is on the bench, and Carson Wentz's quarterback rating is 62, and he's not making any improvements, do you make a change?
You can't make a change right now. Hurts does not understand the entire offense because of the pandemic. He's not been able to, participate in drills and all that. I mean, in practice, but during the season it's very difficult. I think that would be a big, big mistake. Then you lose Wentz for a long time, and they can ill afford because they spent a lot to get Wentz. They moved up in the draft. Now,
all right, Bill.
Again,
Billy, we only got a couple minutes.
Right.
We only have a couple minutes. I want to get in Elton Brand. What do you think about the job Elton Brand's done?
Why would you sign Al Horford? That made no sense. Bully ball. They need shooters. very easily. You got to go out and find shooters for this basketball team. And Doc Rivers, I think, is a great selection because he's going to put a foot up Embiid and Simmons. You'll play basketball. You know where the sun doesn't shine. And you're going to play basketball the way you're supposed to play basketball. All right? Embiid taking 10 3-pointers again. No. You're playing down on the blocks. Ben Simmons, you're going to shoot from outside. I'm not asking you to shoot threes. I'm asking you to shoot a 15 to 18-foot jumper just to keep people honest. This is the way it's going to be. And I hope they give the Rivers the total autonomy on this roster. That's the one thing that the Eagles do not have. Total autonomy. The head coach should be able to pick his 53-man roster, not the general manager. The general manager provides the players for the coach, and they go from there. Simple as that. Dick Vermeil did that. The great coaches, the general manager gets the players, and the coach coaches them up. And simple as that.
So one last GM we have to talk about, because on our Housemaster Home Inspection Twitter poll question of the day, he is the least. The question is, who currently is the worst general manager of our Philly sports teams? Right now, Clintack 73, Howie Roseman 14%, Elton Brand 11%, and Chuck Fletcher only 2% of the people. So obviously he's doing the best job out of the four. I think he's done. Scott and I have talked about it several times that he has really put together a pretty a good team with youth and veterans.
Well, you have to give Holmgren and Hextall a lot of credit too, because they identified the talent. All right, they remember they made the trade for Sean Couturier. Hextall really built up a solid minor league system. I mean, Chuck Fletcher is doing a good job. Now this offseason is critical that he gets another sniper in here. I mean, you don't dial 911 and get a sniper, but they need to get another scorer. All right, simple as that. I think Fletcher's done a good job, a very good job. But now they got to take their game to the next level. I expect if next year they've got to be in the Stanley Cup Finals in the East. All right?
Wow, that sounds good, Billy.
They have to be competing with Tampa Bay and Boston and the New York Islanders. All right? They laid a colossal egg against the Islanders. They did not play very well. All right? So now it's up to them to take the next step forward. And then we can give all the kudos to Chuck Fletcher.
Well, Billy Werndl, listen, man, I always like to touch base with you once in a while. We get your opinions because they're pithy. We love them, and I really appreciate it. I know are you sitting next to Mike and Merle for the call of the games?
Absolutely. I've been spotting for 47 years, my friend. 47 years. You were in the embryonic stage at that time.
You're wrong about that, Billy. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I was.
He's still in the embryonic stage in certain senses.
All right, Billy, listen, man, we really appreciate it. My cousin Jerry said he sends his best to Billy Schweim.
I miss working with Jerry Werndl, the Werndl boys. They're great boys. All right, there it is, Billy Werndl on the Barb's Harley Davidson Sports Hotline. There you go, Scooter.